even when you want the promise to come, you you have to make the choice to be content with God, and that's a good thing. So you want the promise to come, but you're in the wilderness maybe, and things are going slow, and they've gone this way for several years, and there will come a point where you have to choose to be content. You have to choose to like fully accept that season and fully accept where God has you there. And so if that means it's like really slow and mundane and not much is happening, what real surrender to God means like you fully accept that. Like you choose to be content. And you just fully accept where God has you. And when you do that surrender, you find contentment. And that can even become comfortable. I mean, we adapt. We truly adapt. I mean, as humans as we adapt, and with God we can adapt it even more. Like we can just find contentment anywhere in any circumstance. Anything you get used to is truly comfortable. And something new can be jarring, even if it's like what you want. It can still be like a shock to the system. It can even be a little uncomfortable, because it could be stretching. It could require a lot of like more faith and boldness and everything, stretching. So, anyways, the promises that God has made me still that have not come to pass yet, and I realize that there will be this change in life again for my life even now. Like there will be a real big change. And so I realize that I should prepare myself for that so I'm fully ready when it comes. I don't know the day or the hour when it's going to come. Just like I didn't know the day or hour back in 2021 when that crazy change came, and I had no idea it was going to be such a fast change. I had no idea. Whenever I imagined the promises, like those promises, I really thought it was going to be more gradual, especially according to the pace that things had taken already. It felt like we were going backwards many times. So to like go jet speed was something I hadn't predicted, imagined. So I prepare myself in my mind. I'm like, I need to be ready for when this comes, and I'm hungry for the promises that have not been fulfilled yet to come, and I want to value them as much as possible, which means that when they come, to be nothing but joyful and, not let anything take away from that. No complaining, no complaining even in the mind. Be ready, prepare my mind like if things change drastically and it requires like less sleep or something sometimes, or don't get to do the things that I like to do now because of the lifestyle change that will have to happen. Um, I'll be okay with that. I'm preparing myself. You know what I mean? So preparing for the promise by thinking about it is important so that you're ready. Well, number one, that you don't forget about it, but also that when it comes, you're ready. You're like, yep, I've been preparing for this. I'm ready for this. So nothing's holding you back when it comes. And no lie of the devil can try to take you from it or something when it comes. You're not stuck in yesterday. You're ready to move towards today and tomorrow. So it is important to think of the promises in that regard. Uh, but so what you should do is not think about the promises in this like um depressing way, like the promises aren't here yet. When will they come? I really wish the promises were here. They're not here now. Like instead of thinking about the promises in that way, instead think of them in a preparing yourself way. And yeah, in a preparing yourself way. And and also a way of thanking God for what's to come and praising him for such a big part of my prayer life is like thanking God for what he's doing behind the scenes that I'm not aware of. That's preparing the promise to come. When things seem mundane and things it seems like the promise is delaying, I remind myself God isn't like doing other things and forgetting this. It's not like the promise is delaying because God's like not doing things no, God is actually doing so many things behind the scenes every day to prepare, to make a way for this promise to come to pass. He's literally bringing the promise to come to pass right now by doing things in the spiritual realm. He's moving things. He's if the promise coming to pass requires a person's obedience to God, in this, he's sending people dreams. He's speaking to them. You know, he's literally doing all these things that I have no idea what it is, but he is doing things on my behalf to make this promise come to pass. So I thank God for that. When I don't see the promise yet, and it seems like a while it's taking, I renew my mind and I thank God. Thank you, Lord, for the things that you're doing behind the scenes. I remind myself, God is bringing this promise to come to pass now. It's not like I'm sitting here and God is sitting here and we're waiting. God is on the move with this promise right now. I will also say, so I just want to give like one little indicator if you're spending too much time thinking about the promise, like probably just like longing for it. You know, you're spending too much time longing for it, where it's not really beneficial for you to be thinking about the promise like that in that regard. Um, so something I've noticed that I've learned with God is that he wants us to be kept busy. I mean, like example for me, there's so much work that he wants me to do for him every day. This is true for everybody. It's going to look different in different seasons. But for me, there's so much work he wants me to do for him every day. And I'll notice that on days when if I'm waiting for the promise and it's taking a while and maybe it's a difficult season with religious giants and attacks of the enemy, and they seem more like in the forefront, you know, these attacks and things. If it's like that, you can naturally like just feel longing for the promise to come. And but then if you're in that same season, but then there's a day it's busier, you're doing more for the work of God, there's not time to even think about those things. So I found, you know, make sure that you're not neglecting doing the work of God, because doing the work of God is a place of grace, where joy comes amidst persecution, amidst attacks of the devil. You know, when you're doing the work of God, you're focused and you don't have time to be thinking about other things. And so when you don't work for God as much, when you allow your thoughts to just go, it causes you many times to be thinking negatively and you just feel down. You don't need to be feeling down. You can be doing what God's called you to do. He's providing joy there. He's providing focus there. It's a helpful way to, because we're called to set our mind on the things of the Spirit. We're called to think about whatever is pure, admirable, worthy of praise. God calls us to do those things. But when like attacks come, when persecution comes, it's more of a challenge to be eyes locked on what we're supposed to be thinking about, the good things, God. I mean, it's like, it's loud in your ear, you know, like the attacks of the enemy is like screaming loud. So you can have your eyes like this, but it's screaming loud in your ear, you know? And so it's just hard to stay laser focused. But that's why I say doing the work of God is an amazing supernatural grace there, because it like really helps you to block out the negative voices and just stay on the good and be immersed in the good, on God and his kingdom and all of things good in his kingdom, all things beautiful. So remember, like if you're starting to feel like bored, waiting and longing, and you find yourself kind of feeling down because of that, there's probably things that you could be doing for God that you're not doing. Remind yourself, I don't need to be in this down place. But the only way I will get out of this is by doing what God has asked me to do. So I got to do it. I got to remember to do it. I got to remember to not slow down, but keep this pace, staying focused on God, keep doing the work of God.